absolutely right. Black people were paying taxes for food stamps that they didn't fucking qualify for in 1939. In 1939, they were federally funded. So that means the federal taxes by Americans was paying for that shit. Almost knocked that over. Black Americans were paying through income tax, sales tax, and other forms of taxation, even though most of them were excluded from receiving any of those goddamn benefits. Franklin D. Roosevelt made the New Deal with farmers and the surplus of food that they had on hand. And this gave farmers the ability to sell their surplus and help feed the hungry. I'm sorry, white folks. This allowed white folks to get orange stamps for food and blue stamps for surplus food for free. Now, the program was administered through local government and often by county offices. And in the Jim Crow South, baby, you weren't getting shit. Local offices routinely denied black folks of any help or gave them little to no amount. At that time, we didn't have our civil rights, so no one could fight against the discrimination of food aid. So while black people helped fund food stamps, white people got to eat off of our backs. Something that has been happening since the beginning of this fucking country. White folks love to call black people ghetto and tell us to change our culture. Yes, that shit came from a congressman, but don't realize they kept eating off of us from the beginning. So for all you white folks that sit there and talk shit about black people and being on food stamps and any type of services that the government funds for people in need, baby, y'all are the first broke bitches in this country.
This is exactly what I voted for. They have caught all fraudulent recipients. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. Now, we know that this ignorant comment is not true, but I want to talk about who the recipients of SNAP benefits are. And I recently read an article that spoke to people who receive SNAP benefits, and I think it's probably a good reflection of many of the people in this country who receive SNAP benefits. So let's talk about it. Let me introduce you to Latricia. Latricia is 26 years old. She lives in Milwaukee, and she has a 4-month-old baby. Her baby was born with a heart defect. And in order for him to have substance that does not trigger his allergies.
Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you are all doing good. So today we have a wild situation to break down. There is this group of women online, and the women are just so much ignorant because they decided to open their mouths and accuse Black Americans of being food stamp thieves. And let me tell you something, the internet did not let that slide. They got the full wrath, the full clapback, and the full reality check they were begging for. So guys, just grab your snacks, hit that like button, and let's get into this mess. I'll be coming back with more commentaries. In case of any thoughts, kindly feel free to let me know in the comment section. Stay tuned.
He requires a $75 can of milk. We're talking about one can of milk costs $75. She relies on a combination of federal programs, including SNAP. She cannot afford that $75 can of milk. And we know from recent experiments that the churches in her area are probably not going to be willing to give her money so she can purchase this $75 can of milk for her son. Now let me introduce you to Julia. Julia is a farmer. Yes, a farmer. She sells fruits and vegetables to small grocers and green markets, and she sells directly to SNAP beneficiaries. Julia is concerned that her business is going to take a financial hit as a result of the end of the SNAP benefits. Julia says that late fall is the worst time to take SNAP benefits away from farmers' customers. That's when little money is coming in, but farmers must spend money to prepare for spring planting. Now, she says that in her town, half the people who buy her produce are on SNAP. And Julia is also a SNAP recipient for herself and her 3-year-old son. She says, and I quote, "My take home at the end of the year already hovers around zero, like many farmers around this country." So Julia is going to take a double hit. She will take a hit financially for her farm and also personally because she may not be able to feed her son because she won't be receiving SNAP benefits. Let me introduce you to Andrea. Andrea was a federal employee, but she was fired in February. And now she is in need of donations for food. She says that she has cut her expenses, including streaming services and ride shares, and she's been forced to dip into her savings. She has been applying for new jobs for months without any success, and she never expected to rely on government benefits, including SNAP. And Andrea said it could happen to anyone in the blink of an eye. And there's Jennifer, who's a customer service agent. She has 4 kids. She's relied on SNAP for the past 2 years. She is working. And there's Larry in Florida. He's 61 years old. He had to retire in 2019. He has some health issues, including having to have a triple bypass surgery. And he is on SNAP. And he says that financially he was able to put some stuff away, but it will definitely provide hardship for him because I won't have that meal that I'm used to having. Then there's Rosie in New Jersey. She has 2 sons. One of her sons is a 7-year-old with autism, and he needs constant supervision. And so she has a very difficult time keeping a job because she has to constantly take care of her son. And she relies on SNAP benefits. She has been looking for part-time work, but right now she's having to depend on a food pantry. They're struggling to make ends meet, and SNAP is one of the ways that they are able to keep their children fed. I'd like for you all to flood my comments with positive thoughts about people who are SNAP beneficiaries. We know that what this woman said is not true. So please share your stories. Please let people understand who SNAP beneficiaries are. I look forward to reading your comment.
Honestly, it's just getting comical at this point. Only a deranged Democrat, left-wing, radical psychopath would be advocating and supporting the wealthy stealing from the poor. Like, you were in line at a food bank in your 50 grand car. Honey, go to your jewelry box. Take a couple pieces of jewelry, go into your closet, get a couple of designer handbags, go sell them. That would be enough to sustain you until you got better employment. You have 4-wheelers, you have boats, you have this, sell those. These are things you do before you go to the food bank and start stealing food from people who genuinely need it. Like, these are all just material things. Unless it's your wedding ring or a family heirloom, everything's replaceable. There is no way in hell I would not utilize every resource and go into survival mode before I went and asked for free food and took it from people who genuinely need it. I mean, what would y'all do if there were no food banks? Do y'all have absolutely no survival skills? Because the people who genuinely need this food that you're taking it from, they have those skills. They have used all their resources before they have even come here. It's people like you that abuse the system and make us want it to be obsolete. Be advocating and supporting the wealthy stealing from the poor.
EBT fraud is real, and this is how I know.
I'm sure this will be good. Tell me, how do you know?
When I was growing up, we were on food stamps. When I was in high school, my mom had this brilliantly fraudulent idea.
So your mom's the fraudster. Okay, what'd she do that was so bad?
That we would, during the holidays, we would go to the store and we would get all the fixings for baked goods. And then we would make dozens and dozens and dozens of trays of baked goods, decorated sugar cookies, Russian tea cakes, Buckeyes, bark, like the whole 9 yards. And then we'd sell that for cash to just whoever was willing to buy it. And we still had plenty left over for our actual food. That is a perfect example of the kind of fraud we're talking about. This was not like some business owner investing their own money and then turning a profit. This was someone taking the benefits that are funded by taxpayers from the government, turning it into something else so that they could have cash and they could do whatever they wanted with it. Fraud.
So your mom bought ingredients to make baked goods and then sold the baked goods to buy Christmas gifts for you. And you're sitting here telling us that she is a fraudulent criminal somehow. You know that technically, yes, this is considered fraud. However, this is not the fraud I give a fuck about. Do you know what the billionaires are doing? I personally could not care less about a mother using her food stamps a couple of times a year so that way she can afford to get her kids Christmas gifts because she's buying ingredients with food stamps. Okay, I don't really care if a mom is buying a little bit of extra ingredients so that way she can bring cookies to the school bake sale, so that way she could, I don't know, sell a few things so that way she can afford to buy the essentials like toiletries or get her kids Christmas gifts. That is not the fraud I care about. I don't care if a mom's buying the stuff to make her kid a birthday cake or buying soda every now and then as a treat for her kids. I don't care. This is the fraud that you are so worried about, that you are willing to cut people's lifeline to food. This is what I want my taxes to go to, actually. I want my taxes to go towards young single mothers that are trying to figure out a way to give their kids a decent childhood. This is what I want them to use that for. If they are just going out and buying flour, eggs, butter, and whatever, that's better than selling crack on the side of the road. Why are we talking about this as if it's a huge crime? What I'm truly trying to understand is how you can grow up on food stamps, see how hard it is. You can grow up living in poverty, and then immediately just start shitting on the people that were below you and trying to make it harder for people under you by cutting food stamps. I personally will never get mad at someone using food stamps for food, even if that food is meant to feed someone else.
So I'm just going to say what everyone is thinking. I don't care that you're losing your food stamps. I don't care that you're losing your free medical. I don't care that you are losing your free housing. Now y'all are just getting a taste of what every other person is going through. I should not have to pay to feed you and your 9 children. I'll be the selfish one. My kid comes first in my eyes, not you. I'm going to give you a prime example of how broken this freaking system is. My son was in a very, very severe motorcycle accident involving a tow truck. We were in the hospital for almost a month. As a single mom with no support, and before any of you come at me about the single mom thing, no, I didn't expect myself to be a single mother, but you know what? Shit happens. Being a single mother with no freaking support, that is a month, actually over a month of lost wages over something that was completely out of our control. I was told by case management in the hospital, hey, the only way that your city is going to offer you any type of assistance is if you have an eviction notice. The only way that you're going to get help paying your bills because of these lost wages, because of an emergent situation, is if you have a shutoff notice. This is how broken the system is. I work over 40 hours a week. And you're telling me that I'm paying into a system that I cannot benefit from? But you want to come on the internet and bitch and complain about losing your free benefits that you've probably been on for 10 plus years on a brand new phone? We are sick of it. We're done. We're sick of it. We don't feel sorry for you at all. Because now you're just getting a small taste of what all of us have been going through for years. So here's an idea. Instead of continuing to pop out children that you cannot afford, get a condom and a job. Because the average American is sick of supporting you.
That is a fact. That is a fact if I have ever heard it before in my life. When I had my daughter, I made up in my mind that she would never ever suffer. Her feet would never hit the ground, and I would never be in a position. I would work 2 jobs. I would work 100 hours a week if I needed to. And I had my daughter in the middle of the 2008 housing crisis at the very beginning in February. February. But my point is that real people take responsibility for the decisions that they make. I seen a woman talking about how she had 6 kids and who's going to feed her kids if food stamps are cut off. And these people are acting so entitled. So I have to take a bigger cut out of my money, which most of it should go to me. We should only be paying for infrastructure and public safety, and then small, very small government for regulation. And then obviously we know our military. But the point is that all of our money, most of it, a lot of it is going to social services. And that is not right. It's not right at all. And people are taking advantage of it. And now they believe that you are required to make sure that they are taken care of because it is your obligation and it's not even your money, even though it comes straight out of taxpayer dollars, to ensure that they are good for the rest of their life. And it is so disrespectful to everybody that is working every day, go out there and bust their ass and try to figure out how to make a way or how to pay for their kids' tuition or how to make sure that everybody got food on the table and how to make sure that they got their retirement. Man, it's people.
Guys, as we continue watching, this breakdown of today is just a wild confrontation where these women try to label black Americans as food stamp thieves and instantly regretted it. Their disrespectful comments sparked a powerful wave of clapback, truth-telling, and unapologetic responses from the black community. These white women thought they could punch down, but ended up getting a taste of their own mediocre behavior, loud ignorance, and misplaced superiority. So guys, I'm just going to unpack them after you have watched these remaining clips. We are going to unpack the entitlement, the stereotypes, and the reality they refuse to acknowledge. Just get ready, guys, for real talk. Even in the comment section, let's discuss about this, the cultural context, the brutal honesty, and your favorite commentary with zero sugarcoating. So guys, join the conversation in the comments. How do you feel about people weaponizing poverty and stereotypes? Guys, I'll be back.
Yeah, so we're now arresting people for literally trying to better themselves and their families. As a Michigan woman faces 10 years in prison for selling baked goods bought with food stamps. Now, for the uneducated, judging by the comment section of that post, it's a lot of people. People seem to be under the impression that she used her food stamp to buy like pre-made, pre-packaged snacks and then sold them for profit. Which, to be fair, I still wouldn't care. But no, she literally went to the store to buy baking ingredients, which she then used to make homemade goods that she sold online. I.e., she was buying eggs, flour, baking soda, salt, all the things. You know, food. And I'm sure those ingredients went to other things in her household. And she used that money to pay her bills, to pay off debt. And now she is facing 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine because she bought baking ingredients. This woman is facing 10 years in prison for having the audacity to use her food stamps to buy food and then try and use that to better her position financially into a more stable position, which is supposed to be the entire point of assistance. What are we doing?
Here we are, I'm back, and I'm here to explain what went down. And also, these white women were out here. They are flexing their entitlement like it was a personality trait, throwing around stereotypes, calling people on Snap lazy, thieves, and every tired insult you can ever imagine. And what's crazy is they thought that black folks were just gonna sit there and take it. Oh no, not today, not today. Because every time somebody wants to insult black people, they go straight to poverty shaming. Meanwhile, half the folks throwing these insults don't even realize the majority of food stamp recipients in America aren't black, but ignorance is just loud. And they proved that today. So these women thought that they were dropping some truth bomb, but all they were dropping was their own mediocrity all over the floor. And now look at this part right here. You know, they are saying that with the whole their chest, like they are exposing something new. All they exposed is the lack of education in their household. So Black Twitter came in like food stamps thieves. Baby, the only thing you all have stolen historically is entire countries, cultures, and resources. And you know what? They weren't lying. Yes, this is the thing. What they called insulting black people was really them projecting their own fears, their own insecurities, and their own economic struggles, because often the loudest ones pointing fingers are the ones hiding the most. Yes, and meanwhile, black Americans have been surviving. They have been adapting and flourishing despite everything thrown at them. So you notice how people love to weaponize government assistance against black people. But when they benefit from it, when their uncle, their cousin, their neighbor is on it, suddenly it's hard times, suddenly it's mental health, suddenly it's the economy. But when black folks use it, oh, then it's laziness, it's theft, then stereotypes. Yeah, the hypocrisy is just screaming. You know, the clapbacks were legendary. Black Americans stood 10 toes down, dragged the ignorance out of these women, and reminded them that you don't get to stereotype an entire race just because you woke up feeling spicy and uneducated. Yes, and honestly, they needed this humbling because sometimes reality has to hit people like a frying pan. It's also deeper than just insults. Stereotypes like these have been used for decades to justify discrimination, shame, and economic inequality. So when people clap back, it's not just for the joke, it's setting the record straight. Yes, this is why moments like this matter. And at the end of the day, these women got a taste of their own medicine. Their own mediocre behavior came right back like a boomerang. Yes, so and hopefully, just hopefully, they learned that you cannot disrespect black people and expect silence. Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss on the next one. Tell me in the comments, why do people still weaponize poverty against black folks? Let's talk about it, guys. Of course, all credit belongs to the original owners of the video, and this video is meant for educational purposes and commentary purposes as well. All right, family, I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed, stay aware, and stay unbothered. Thank you so much. Be blessed and have a nice time. Peace be with you.